biggest challenge that these guys faced in 1967 was that they really were going into unknown territory.
That rescue was by far the most difficult rescue that had ever been done on the Tetons.
It was a pretty dangerous thing that this rescue team was going to do to get this guy down.
These guys were breaking psychological barriers.
There were a lot of things that could have gone wrong.
Suddenly I was on the most complex rescue I could imagine. The night of the rescue, I had a knock on the door, and two fellows were standing there, and they said, "We heard calls for help from the north face of the Grand Teton."
It was a beautiful climb. We were making great progress. As Gay would lead the next pitch, I would belay him.
I said, "What's up?" He said, "I think there's a rescue on the north face of the Grand." And at that moment, I really got a chill from here to here. And I felt, wow.
I remember my boots, I remember my gaiters, I remember my pack, I remember this is the fulfillment of a dread that I had.
All of a sudden, I heard this tremendous noise and the sound of a great rock fall.
Boom, right behind me, and it sounded like a bomb had gone off.
The north face is a major alpine face. It's maybe 2,500 vertical feet, and then you have to deal with the glacier and the bergschrund and rock falls.
To my horror, the end of the rope came back severed.
I did a complete flip over backwards, and I landed right near the edge of the ledge where there was a crack, and I was able to grab a hold.
He could have plummeted all the way down the face.
Had I been 3 foot back, I would have been toothpaste. I would have been there'd been nothing. My rope was just smeared to nothing.
We knew that the bone was broken in at least 2 places. We wrapped the leg with ice axes. We couldn't get up, we couldn't get down. I was definitely afraid he might die.
We drove south about 3 miles. We looked up at the north face to see if there were any lights or anything.
I was flashing my flashlight using an SOS signal, hoping desperately that somebody in the valley below would see that.
So I flashed the truck lights, SOS back.
I could see a lot of lightning, so I was very afraid that we would die of exposure.
Pete laid out the plan. Rick and Pete will go on reconnaissance.
Pete and I took off about 11 o'clock and got up and went around the north face. Then we saw them. They're on the second ledge. It's the guy that's injured, not the woman.
Ted and Mike will come up second to the lower saddle.
I was freaked out by the possibility of serious rockfall.
And then Bob, he's with Lee Ortenberger. He's the guy that knows the park better than anyone.
As soon as I took off the ice axe, he had 2 protruding compound fractures in the lower leg. If he died in this operation, it would be from shock.
Gaylord Campbell was a very, very fine climber. And I think he was very embarrassed by the fact he had been victimized by the mountain.
Gaylord's there on the ledge, and he looked up at him and he said, "Those pitons are in upside down," telling us how to put in pitons. But of course he was upside down.
I thought they were making decisions and doing things in which someone could get hurt.
What he had to say about the rescue, or what he had to say about any of us during the rescue, to me was not even relevant.
Had someone listened to me, but I thought this was no time to be teaching mountaineering 101.
I, of course, don't think that he was particularly justified in criticizing how he was rescued.
Once we got below the first ledge, We were in terra incognita with that later. No one had ever been there, no one had ever climbed there, and no one had ever been down it.
We didn't want to wind up dangling in the middle of an overhang without any rope left.
And so the question was, could we get down it? And once we left the west end of the first ledge, we were irrevocably committed to going down. There was no going back up.
There are times when I wake in the middle of the night and grab my pillow from how dangerous that rescue was.
The essence of this rescue was a group of individuals who came together, a job to do, and found within their bond a new power.
It's a reinforcing memory, reinforcing situation that brings you to this kind of affirmation of having lived, having lived and shared an experience.
I don't think I'd ever try this again with 6 other people.